Stranger Things doesn't sound like a normal TV show, and that's because its soundtrack wasn't made like one. The music wasn't done by some massive Hollywood orchestra team, but instead it was made by Kyle Dixon and Michael Stein from the synth band Survive. Just two dudes who already loved making analog, eerie music in a room full of blinking lights. The Duffer Brothers actually discovered Kyle and Michael when they were first using one of their songs to pitch the idea of Stranger Things to Netflix.
The story goes that the Duffer Brothers cut their sizzle trailer with your song Dirge.
You have Dirge here, Matt? Play a little.
So they cut this trailer to Dirge and sold the show, and then called you and said, "Hey, are you interested?" How did that go?
They emailed us, and it only took the first sentence for us to, immediately.
And instead of doing the normal thing of replacing them with real TV composers when the budget showed up, they basically said, "Nah, you guys built the vibe, now finish the job." And you can hear that decision that the Duffer Brothers made. The entire score is built around real hardware synths. ARPs, Prophets, Oberheims, and Mellotrons. Old machines that don't behave. They drift, they hiss, they wobble. They do a lot of weird stuff that gets the room hot. And instead of fixing all of that, Dixon and Stein leaned into it. A lot of the synth parts were recorded as audio really early, not left as MIDI, because the instability is the point. Once it's printed, it's printed. No endless tweaking, and no endless polishing the soul out of the mix. What's wild is how much mixing actually went on during the writing of Stranger Things. Effects like tape delay, reverb, chorus, and phasing, the stuff that makes it sound cool, well, those sounds were baked in from the start. Sometimes you can't even tell where the music ends and the sound design begins. And that's why the Upside Down doesn't feel scored. It feels alive, like the space itself is humming at you. The main theme is stupid simple, let's be honest. But that's why it works. It loops but never really resolves. It just sits there like an intrusive thought. Parts of the score were originally played on detuned hardware and then sequenced, giving it that warped, uncomfortable feeling, like something familiar that's gone bad. There's no crazy compression, no crazy limiters or noise gates. The quiet parts remain quiet, and that restraint is what makes the tension hit that much harder when it does finally swell up. Even the low ends are intentional. Most of the bass is mono, sustained, and super uncluttered. Not stacked, not busy, not trying to flex. And that leaves a lot of room for the dialogue, sound effects, and sound design that will be added later. Which is really important for a show that 50% of its dialogue is whispering. The stereo image itself also remains quite narrow most of the time. It only really opens up when something emotional or supernatural is occurring. It's controlled, it's patient, and it knows when to shut up. It's been said that most of the music for Stranger Things was arranged and mixed in Pro Tools, but the final goal was never for it to sound clean and modern. Michael Stein has straight up said that they avoided polishing the music in a way that it would remove its edge. The noise stays in, the imperfections stay in. The music feels physical instead of glossy, which is why the music still works even on your terrible TV speakers or 2 a.m. on your cell phone. In terms of inspiration, you can definitely hear the DNA of artists like John Carpenter, Tangerine Dream, Vangelis, Giorgio Moroder, the whole synth horror lineage. But Dixon and Stein have been very clear that they're not trying to copy anybody. Instead, make their own wave. They were just using a lot of the similar tools that they were using from that era. When you use a lot of the same tools, similarities are going to be inevitable, but the difference is what you do with them. And as we all know, they did the most. Now let's talk about the licensed music. The Duffer Brothers didn't just go on Spotify and choose an 80s greatest hits playlist. Instead, they used music very strategically to set emotional traps. Artists like Joy Division, Toto, New Order, Prince, The Bangles, all these different artists and their respected songs were used to put the show in a time capsule, while the original score was used to quietly glue everything together. And when Running Up the Hill shoots up the charts decades later, that's not just nostalgia. That's context doing serious damage. This soundtrack became such a big part of our culture and so tied to the show that many of its greatest moments are akin to the song choices that were used, whether it was a licensed song or the original score. The Stranger Things soundtrack team did an amazing job. The soundtrack got multiple album releases, including an ambient-only collections and a Halloween special collection. The main title even picked up an Emmy nomination, which almost never happens for music so minimal. At the end of the day, Stranger Things reminded people that music doesn't have to be loud, clean, or perfect for it to be powerful. It just has to be intentional. Commit early, leave some space, and let things breathe. The score of Stranger Things doesn't tell you when to be scared. Instead, it just hangs there and lets your brain ruin the moment for you. And now every trailer, horror game, and moody TikTok edit is chasing that same sound, whether they know it or not. Cool, my name is Jean-Claude Downing. Thank you so much for sticking around for this video. I hope you found it as interesting as I did doing the research and looking it up. If you'd like to hit that like, subscribe. I'm really trying to hit just 1,000 subscribers this year. It's my goal. And yeah, it would really mean a lot to me. Otherwise, I hope you have a really good week. Sending much love. Stay mad, stay magical. Peace.